It's Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. I'm Greg Nibbler, and this is Digital Trends Live. Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. We broadcast live here every single weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you trending tech headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And let's get started right now. It is always a big day in tech when Apple is having an event, and that is indeed what is happening at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, as they showcase some of their new products. They're even temporarily taking down the Apple Store ahead of the big event. But the big question is, will there be new iPhones? Probably not. As usual, Apple is super tight-lipped about what they're going to showcase, but even Apple can't control all of the leaks that come out. So here's what we do expect. New Apple Watches? Yes, maybe 2 new Apple Watches. One being a Series 6 new model, which would include a blood oxygen sensor, which is something we've seen in some Fitbits, but have been expecting from Apple for a while. And I'm sure there'll be some other surprises with an update as well. And we're also thinking there may be an Apple Watch SE, which could be a less expensive version. From there, the iPad lineup will be updated with a potentially updated iPad Air with a Pro look and maybe a less expensive iPad as well. There could also be the announcement of the Apple One subscription program, maybe some new headphones. There is a lot that could happen at this event, and we'll be providing live analysis right here. So here's what's going on. You can watch the Apple event at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and pull up our live feed to watch our live commentary along with it. I will be hosting it along with a number of our editors to provide instant reaction to Apple's announcements. And of course, we'll have all of the coverage at digitaltrends.com. Big day for tech, so follow along with that all day long. Today was the deadline for TikTok's U.S. operations to be sold to an American company, and they beat that by one day, kind of, to avoid an outright ban that would have happened on September 20th, with Oracle reportedly becoming a trusted tech partner. Under the deal, Oracle would manage the U.S. database operations for TikTok's China-based owner ByteDance and potentially create 20,000 U.S. jobs. But does that satisfy the sales requirements? Well, we don't know. We're expecting a U.S. government response later this week, so TikTok fans just hold tight for now. In the meantime, competitors are still swooping in. Instagram, of course, launched Reels in the US last month, but before that they were testing in India, which has banned TikTok for quite some time, and it appears YouTube is following suit. So that same roadmap has been followed by them, and they have launched the long talked about Shorts platform there. So Shorts videos will be accessed from an icon on the YouTube app and will allow for 15-second videos. Shorts will also partner with musicians to create a large music database for users and potentially seek partnerships with the musicians themselves. For now, it will be beta tested in India, but expect it to launch in more countries soon. You can read more about it at digitaltrends.com. The streaming content wars continue to go on, and name changes are back with CBS All Access announcing a rebrand. So in line with the trends, they will now be changing the name from CBS All Access to Paramount Plus, starting in early 2021. CBS All Access is currently estimated to have around 8 million subscribers, with original programming in the Star Trek universe being one of the key offerings. Now, the previous merging of Viacom and CBS brought a large catalog of programming under one umbrella, and they want to take advantage of that. So according to the press release, they'll be bringing archives of BET, Comedy Central, CBS, Nickelodeon to the platform, and MTV with a reboot of Behind the Music, looking at the last 40 years of music. Other original programming will include docuseries focusing on the real criminal minds, and one that tells the story of the making of The Godfather called The Offer. So there's a lot of competition for streaming content, but Paramount Plus hopes to win over some new fans with their vast archives. You can read more about it at digitaltrends.com. Disney Plus has had a pretty good run going for themselves since launching, and obviously one of the biggest hits has been The Mandalorian, and we finally have it, a trailer for Season 2. They announced the release date of October 30th a while ago, but with the new trailer, we now have some more information and honestly, something cool to see. So the new one seems to detail how the Mandalorian is tasked with finding Baby Yoda's home, and they mention Jedis. We also know that Rosario Dawson will be playing Anakin Skywalker's apprentice Ahsoka Tano. Boba Fett is in the new season. Timothy Oliphant's in it. Giancarlo Esposito returns. Carl Weathers and Gino Carano. It looks so good. So thank you for allowing me my nerd break during this section of today's programming. But seriously, it looks awesome. October 30th is when it's going to be coming out. So you can read more about The Mandalorian and our breakdown of this trailer at digitaltrends.com. All right, we've got a lot of content here on Digital Trends, but we like to keep you up to date on everything that includes the world of finances, and that is why we have Winnie Sun, who joins us here to talk about that and keep us up to date on the important things we need to know. Everything is changing so fast, and Winnie, always good to have you here on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Greg. It's great to be here.
Lots to talk about as usual, but I think the first thing I want to ask about has to do with this potential stimulus check. We've heard about it for weeks, if not months now, and I got to ask, do you think it's even going to happen at this point?
So great question, Greg. You know, we talked about it a few weeks ago, and I was definitely thinking that they would come together and there would be a second round of stimulus check. Right now, I'm not so sure. I mean, given that there seems to be more of, political sparring than getting together, I actually think there's a good chance that there won't be another round of stimulus checks, or it'll have to come from the state, because it doesn't look like they want to give us something before the election.
So, something politics maybe getting in the way of that, but whatever it is, all right. So now hopes can go down a little bit. Maybe you have to wait a while for that. So stimulus check, kind of on the back burner there. But going from there, talking about just people with their finances, and if you do have the ability to save, what are some different ways that you could start saving right now, and even maybe potentially when this thing's over and you go on vacation again, like how can you start planning for that?
I love that, Greg. We have to think about the positive, and planning for a vacation is obviously a big one. And those of you who are looking to save right now, there's some great opportunities to do so, especially since we're going into the end of the year. So if you haven't already, socked away into your IRA in addition to your 401k or 403b, you really should consider doing that before year end. And that's a great question. Some people are saying, well, I like to go ahead and save more for a vacation in the future. And if that's the case, I'd actually also suggest looking at your own finances. If you're really good about paying your bills off each and every month, you pay your credit cards off every single month without any sort of slip, then I actually would look at some of these travel credit cards. Some of them are really beneficial. We see a new one come out recently with no annual fee through Chase. And these are ways where you can use your normal spending, like your grocery spending, and save points and miles for your future travel. So I love that. The other thing I would suggest is something that I'm talking a lot about is the importance of getting smart about how you spend your money. And one thing I would recommend is stop going to the supermarket. Like, I'm not saying not to buy groceries, but consider using curbside checkout instead. Do your shopping at home, compare it to your refrigerator, your freezer, like I do that all the time. And then that way you're not doing impulse shopping, and you have a really good control of your grocery spend, because for many of us, that's our biggest outlet of spending.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that spontaneous shopping there when you're in the store. I definitely am guilty of that. So a great way to save some money there, save some money from different ways with credit cards. Anything else that you think people should know about this week when it comes down to their finances, something important that people should factor in?
Sure. So this week is really interesting because we also know that the Fed chairman they're having the last meeting today and tomorrow as we go into the election, the last big meeting. And people are saying, well, what is this going to look like? One thing that we mentioned before is the Fed made a very clear indication that the Fed chairman Jerome Powell says that, he's going to allow for inflation to take place. And that's going to give us long-term lower interest rates. And who knows how long? It could be 2 years. It could be longer. For those of you who are investing, this is really important to understand. So it might be that we pare back on long-term fixed income, but it also means, what does that mean for those of you who are investing for long-term goals, right? As well as looking at things such as Social Security in the future, which we know is looking like it's going to be impacted because of all the pandemic spending. So the really important thing I want you to know from this meeting, and just from finances in general right now, is to play an active role. Right now isn't a time to just basically pull back and not pay attention to the financial markets, but instead take a look at opportunities. You just talked about some of the digital streaming services out there. So there's still opportunities if you're looking for value to invest long term. Just don't not participate. There's going to be definitely some pullbacks. We expect some more volatility as we go into the election and post the election. And if you have some money stocked away on the side, maybe in checking or savings, it might be a chance for you to slowly dip into the financial markets, invest.
Great advice, as always, that you provide here with us. And Winnie, I really appreciate you being here. For everybody out there, too, where should we direct them to find out more about everything that you do?
Thank you so much, Greg. If you're looking for more information on financial services side, definitely follow me on Twitter at Winnie Sun, or you can jump on our website at sungroupwp.com. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Winnie Sun, right here on Digital Trends Live. Always great advice that she provides. Really appreciate her joining the show. And thank you to everybody who's watching right now, wherever you are. We also appreciate that, so hit that subscribe button. Share the show. Coming up next, we're going to talk more about streaming television, including a new service called Quelly TV. We've got Deshana Spencer, who's going to be joining us to talk about that platform, what it brings to the table. So that's next. Stick around. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and again, thanks for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. We broadcast live here every weekday, so hit that subscribe button and join the show. And right now, we're going to talk about streaming content because there is a new service. Well, it's called Quelly TV, and that's what we're going to be discussing here right now. We've got the founder and CEO, Deshunna Spencer, who's joining us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk about this. There's so many different things to discuss with it, but just, I guess to start off, could you maybe describe to us just a little bit about what Quelly TV is about, but really what inspired you to found this company?
Sure. So Quelly TV, we are a video streaming service that curates independent films, documentaries, web shows, children's programming from the US and across the globe. So content from parts of Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, Europe, even Australia, basically all in one place. Quelly means truth in Swahili, and so one of our main missions is to really use our platform to dispel myths about the Black experience, celebrate Black culture through our content.
Well, talking about that, and bringing all of this different content from around the world into one platform, how is it that you're able to curate this? How do you find this different content?
So we've sourced all of our films from film festivals from around the world. A lot of challenges that a lot of filmmakers have, especially those who are of African descent, is that once they finish their film festival run, there really is no place to showcase their work. And so that's where Quelly TV comes in. We are a platform that allows for these really amazing award-winning films to have a home once they finish with their film festival run. And so that's something that I find pleasure in. When we first started out, like you talked about, like why I started Quelly TV, I couldn't find these films. I remember looking on television and just seeing the same repeats, the same storylines. And like, I love history. I love so many different types of genres. And I was starving for more that represented me as a Black woman, and I couldn't find it. And I was looking at even at streaming services at the time, and they didn't have it. I was like, well, where are these independent films from film festivals from Black filmmakers? And as someone who doesn't have a lot of money, I just couldn't travel to a bunch of film festivals all the time to see these films. And so I was like, well, I want to see them after the festival. How can I do that? And when I saw that there really was no place to do that, that's when the light bulb hit off. I was like, well, maybe this is something that I can do, which is, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's like the light bulb hits off, but like I'm going to create this, this company. My background in journalism is not in film and television, so I didn't really know how I was going to do it, but I knew this was something that I really wanted to bring to the world.
That's what I want to talk about that too, from the entrepreneurial standpoint, just you seeing that, hey, I want to watch these things and nobody has a platform for me to do that. So I'm just going to go out and create it. I mean, that's a pretty bold move to do right there.
Well, crazy,
but going from that, like, right. Yeah. Like, it could be either way, but either way you're doing it. And so, talking about that, like what's one of the biggest obstacles you encountered trying to get into this whole platform and field that you had no experience in before?
So many challenges. We have so little time, so I really can't go into everything. But initially, I didn't really understand how it worked when it comes to getting content, licensing fees. These are things I had to learn. That was one learning curve, right? My initial thought was, let me go to film festivals. I'm going to reach out to them, tell them about what I'm doing, that this is a space for their films, for their filmmakers to come to. Of course, they were like, who are you? No one got back to me. So I took another approach and started reaching out to filmmakers personally and just telling them my story about what I was looking to do, and they trusted me with their content. We launched our beta. We had 37 filmmakers who they know me from Adam. And they trusted me with their films, and just me telling them my story and my overall vision. And so that's kind of where it got started. The tech side was another big challenge. Before I started Quelly TV, I had an online magazine, and there are so many resources on how to start publications. There's even a book called How to Start a Magazine for Dummies. There is no how to start a streaming service for dummies, right? So there's no roadmap. And so it was extremely, extremely hard. I had no idea the type of tech it would take to build this type of platform. And it was a huge learning curve for me. I made a lot of mistakes, but I just stumbled along the way because I was really driven, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be driven to do that. And obviously you've been hugely successful. So I was just taking a look at this. So Quality TV is on not only your website, but Cox, Comcast, Distro TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, iOS, Google Play, Android, Chromecast. Like you're on all these different platforms that you from this thing you created because of something you wanted to see, and now you've got it out there for everybody. I just think that's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Going from this, and talking about where you're at right now, where would you like to see the company grow, and what would you like people to know out there who would be interested in taking a look at Quality TV?
Sure. So yeah, thank you for that. We've been working really hard to get on different distribution channels, especially now with the coronavirus. A lot more people are at home. And so that's been something that we've been really working on to make sure people have quality content and we can reach more and more people. And so as I tell people, we haven't raised like a C round of funding or Series A or anything like that. We've been living off of convertible notes, revenue, grants, pitch competitions. I mean, that's how we've been able to get on these platforms. I'm very thankful for that. As far as, some things for the future, we really see ourselves growing more globally. Right now, about 19% of our customers are international. About 35% of our films are international. And so we're really seeing an opportunity to expand internationally to other parts of the world. We haven't done much research as far as how we're going to get there quite yet, but right now, because we do have a lot of content from other parts of the world, we've been doing really well as far as reaching some customers outside of the US. We're also hoping to do more events. I know right now we're in COVID, so most of us are meeting online, but one of the things we did last year, we did a 6-city tour, because for me, the Quality TV is really a community too. We're not just a streaming service. It's not a transactional type of relationship. We really want to be much more than that. And so I'm really excited about some online events we're looking to have this year. And hopefully we can do some things offline again next year.
Well, congratulations on the success that you've had here with this. I mean, it's just so inspiring that you decided to launch this, create it, and obviously it's hitting a market that a lot of people want to see these films, and you're providing a place for both the creators and people who want to watch them to go find them. And Deshauna, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live, QualityTV.com. People can go check it out, or on all those other providers that we talked about. And thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Deshauna Spencer right there. So again, entrepreneur and somebody who's bringing content to people, very inspiring. I know I need to get to a break because we have more coming up here on the show. So stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and again, thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, share the show. It's now time for our segment called Who's Got Game, where we talk to talent from Fullscreen about their creative process, what they're doing. And joining us right now, we have Max Philisaire. You might know him as Max the Body on Instagram. Max, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Greg. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk to you, and I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, good. All right, good to go. What I wanted to ask is, starting off here, talking about what you do, obviously you're a fitness influencer and you're a filmmaker, but one of the interesting things about your career is that you're a U.S. military combat veteran. And I wanted to ask how that shaped you getting into fitness, and if that had any influence on you wanting to create these videos and post yourself on Instagram.
Great question. I've always been an athlete, always been into sports, and once I decided to put on some sizes to transform my body, I just transitioned into bodybuilding. I use the same mindset from sports, soccer and basketball into bodybuilding. The same concepts of being disciplined and dedicated, being consistent, stuff like that. So I incorporated that into bodybuilding. And once I decided to join the military, also same mentality, the discipline of just following orders, being disciplined and, following rules, following a guideline. A guideline and discipline is the same concept and mindset you use as a fighter, as an athlete. And then, so when I joined the military, I felt like this was home. It definitely helped push me forward. I felt like like-minded people when I joined the military. And everything I learned in the military, I definitely incorporated into fitness as well. I got results real fast. And once people started asking me for advice, it inspired me to just make fitness a business.
Well, and going from there, making it a business, how have you, I guess, translated that kind of, regimented idea behind fitness? How has that impacted your followers, and how have they adapted to that?
Okay. So I would say, like, with the digital platform, with social media, it's not the same as a one-on-one conversation, but it's the next best thing. So, like, once I learned how to use the market research tools of social media, meaning seeing how the followers react, asking them for feedback. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten here without the feedback from the followers, with the reach from all over the globe, hearing what people have to say about pictures and videos, pretty much, psychology, learning about psychology through social media. That helped me decide on what content to produce. And also it let me know, like, what the audience reacts to. So it was like, it's a relationship. Social media is a relationship with the followers. They helped me build my brand, and I helped inspire and motivate them to build their bodies.
The other things you've branched out into is making films as well. And I know one of your films, you've got Blackout. I wonder if maybe you could tell us, what that is about, what that one in particular is about, and what it is that makes you want to get into the filmmaking side of things.
Okay, great. So, like, with social media, you have to produce content, as you know. I found out that I enjoyed producing content, photo and video, and then I had to learn about creative direction. I was doing it without even knowing it. So everybody loves film. So, like, I was like, well, I enjoy films. I'm in LA. Why don't I take this to the next level? Like, I'm a military veteran. I'm out here. I started doing a little bit of acting, but I was like, I prefer to be behind the camera. So I started writing. And then once I started writing, I joined the film program at a film school over here. And then started producing short films. So I would say we got inspired by social media. Just creating content on social media inspired me to start producing longer form storytelling. I enjoy telling stories. I enjoy directing. So I joined a director's program and started producing short films. My first short film was about post-traumatic stress. The second one was about racism. And the one that with the trailer for Blackout is about an ex-con. He just got out of jail, but he's mixed up with the same crowd. So he's having problems finding his way. That's what Blackout is about.
I love that. Sounds like you've got a little bit of mix of, documentary style, like helping people, and then also, some creative side of things as well. Going forward, what kinds of films do you want to make?
definitely social films. I enjoy producing films that people can relate to, that can help them become better individuals, but also entertaining. So with social causes and nonprofit organization, I believe like they have to be you have to get people's attention. You have to inspire and entertain them while you educate them. So I feel like film is a great medium to do that with, and I definitely want to continue producing more social projects.
Well, Max, definitely you're inspiring for what you've done, and clearly other people are inspired by what you're doing as well, which is why you're so popular with all of your followers and everybody following along with everything you do. And I want to say thank you very much for joining us too to talk about this, and
I
joining us here
appreciate
on
it,
Digital
Greg.
Trends Live, just to talk about what you've done. Yeah, Max, this has been great. And so for everybody out there, Max the Body, anywhere else that you want me to send them to?
Definitely Instagram is where I spend most of my time on social media. Max the Body. I'm also on Facebook and my website, maxfields.com.
Nice, Max. Thank you so
much. And YouTube. Can't forget YouTube.
Yep, YouTube. Definitely YouTube also. Follow Max on everything. That's the bottom line. Max, thanks so much for being here. That's fantastic. What an interesting story. And that's one of the things I love talking about here on Digital Trends Live is people who are following what they want to do and creating content like that. And that's just really cool. And that's what we get to do here every single day at Digital Trends Live. But here's what's happening next. We're going to end this portion of the show for the day. So tomorrow, of course, we'll have another episode of Digital Trends Live at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. But in about 10 minutes, we're going to start our coverage for the Apple events. The Apple event's coming up at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. It is, or at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's right up here. So we're coming up to it. This is Apple's big product announcement. But here's what we're going to be doing. So we'll be having our live commentary that will go in conjunction with the actual broadcast. So you can pull up the broadcast, watch that, and then pull up us and listen to our side of things as we comment on what's being broadcast. It's going to be fun. I'm going to try this out, but we're starting off here with a whole preview in about 10 minutes. So just hit subscribe, whatever platform you're on. We'll be right back in then. And until then, thanks a lot. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. I'll talk to you soon.